So today we're looking at how do we find the value of an unknown when we're talking about addition. Now, as we discussed in class, this is very important because it kind of gets us into that mindset of working with opposites. And when we work with opposites, we want to remember what's opposite of what, obviously. When we're talking about addition, the opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. The opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. Now, that becomes a very important thing to think about as we go into discovering the unknown. Now, we're going to be talking about some terms maybe you're familiar with, maybe you aren't. I'm hoping by the end of this unit that you will have a complete understanding, or a good understanding of how this process works. So here we are. We have a number of different problems here where we have all addition problems, all with a single variable, and we're trying to find the value of each unknown. Remember, the unknown is represented by the variable. Now, how do we do that? Let's take k plus 7 equals 10 first. Now, the first thing that we need to do is something called isolating the variable. Now, isolating the variable just means that we need to make the variable on its own. Now, to do that, we have to remember a simple rule. The rule is whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side. Now, I have k plus 7 equals 10. Another way of saying that is what plus 7 equals 10. Now, there's a number of different ways to approach this. I'm going to show you how I approach it. Now, what I need to do is I need to get rid of this positive 7. You can think of it as a positive 7 to get it down to 0. How do I get positive 7 to 0? I subtract 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 here. Now remember what I said, you have to do the same to both sides. So if I subtract 7 from this side, I have to subtract 7 from this side. Now, 7 minus 7 is 0. So that means that k is isolated, or it's on your own, because this is just k plus 0, which is nothing. Now 10 minus 7, what's 10 minus 7? Well, you can use a number line, you can think, but I know, because I've practiced just like you have, that 10 minus 7 is 3. So I know that k equals 3. All I've done is I've just isolated my variable to find the answer. Now, let's try this again. 2 plus s equals 9. Now, again, I need to isolate the variable. My variable is s, which means I need to get rid of the 2. How do I get rid of a positive 2? I subtract 2. Now remember, if I do it to one side, I have to do it the other side, so I need to subtract 2 from 9. And what I get is s, because now my variable is isolated, equals 7. S equals 7. I'm going to do one more, and then you can try on your own. I have 7 plus q equals 12. Q is my unknown, or my variable. Another way of saying this is 7 plus what equals 12. Again, I need to isolate the variable, get the q on its own. How do I do that? I get rid of this 7 by subtracting 7. Again, if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. I subtract 7 from here. What am I left with? I'm left with q equals 5. So that gives you 3. We're going to just keep practicing this concept for a couple of days so that you really get this solidly nailed down. And then we can move on and we can show how we can do the same basic principle as this when it comes to solving for unknowns with subtraction, solving for unknowns with multiplication, solving for unknowns with division. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I look forward to getting into this with you.